Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we'll be taking a look at Leader Class Dragonstorm from Transformers The Last Knight. I've actually had this for a decent amount of time and just kind of haven't gotten around to reviewing it yet. I guess maybe in the back of my mind I'm not that excited, but we'll see. I'm hoping the toy proves me wrong by the end of the review. Dragonstorm, three-headed fire-breathing dragon. There you go, gets the point across. That is what he does. Picture of him there on the side. On the back, you can see it is actually two robots, Storm Rain and Dragonicus. And then they merge together to form this three-headed dragon, which is a pretty cool idea. In the movie, I think there were like 12 or 13 knights that all transformed into a giant dragon. But I mean, that's just not feasible. I mean, for a toy to have 13 different robots to merge into a giant dragon. I mean, they'd have to be like Legends class figures or something if you're even going to attempt it. Certainly nothing this size. So I think for what they're attempting here, I think this makes sense. Obviously, these guys don't really have alt modes of their own. They only have, you know, each has half of a dragon. So you can see there's a picture of Optimus, who's also available. Not really anything going on the top, just the window there, and nothing really going on the bottom. So pretty much it for the packaging. Let's go ahead and get this guy out of the box and we'll take a closer look. Alright, so here is Dragonstorm out of the packaging. The directions kind of show him sitting down like this, but I can't really find a way to get a good pose because the front dragon legs or arms, whatever you'd like to call them, are way shorter than the back ones, which makes sense, especially when we get into the transformation. But I kind of like trying to get him to stand almost like this, like a T-Rex. He's got the little dragon tail in the back, and then just give him his two arms here, and then you have the three dragon heads. He can't stand like this because he's way too front heavy because of where the legs are situated in regards to all of this weight. So there's no way, but if you wanted to just hold it, I think that's the coolest look to me. Again, you can have him go forward, but you really kind of have to put the legs like all the way back and then kind of bend these forward and then kind of put the arms like this, and it kind of works. I don't know. I think the dragon form looks good if you just pose it with your hand and just have him stand like he's rear and back. Especially, you know, or if a kid's just like pretending he's flying around, I think it works because that looks good. The wings are real nice. I really like the wings. They did a great job of making them look like wide and big, but at the same time also kind of looking like metal because he's a robot. You can see the kind of metallic paint they have on the back here. I mean, I think the whole back of this dragon looks pretty good. The two pieces of the two robots fit together pretty well. I mean, this is all one piece, and then this down here, the butt goes to the other robot, but I mean, it clicks in really nice. The only thing back here, the tail's a little wonky. This is the two guys' back legs, or this is two robot legs, I should say. And you can see they don't perfectly fit together. I wish they found some way to make them like snugly fit together perfectly so that it actually looked like a fluid tail. It's not bad, but it's not the best. Coming under here, you know, these don't peg in anywhere. I kind of wish they did, but it's not a big deal. The big plastic piece here kind of keeps them where they should be, so it's not a big deal. You can see it just kind of drifts a little bit from side to side, but overall, the dragon mode, I think, looks pretty cool. You can see the three heads. Now, these are made of a softer rubber, which is not terrible, but it's a little weird. But articulation for the dragon heads is pretty good. You can see, well, maybe you can't. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer. So right here, where the plastic changes color, there's a swivel. And it's a little tight on mine, but so there's a swivel there. Then you have, can really only bend back. It can't really bend down. But then you have this joint where it can bend down. So you can kind of get like a back and down kind of thing going on. And then the mouth can open and close. But again, both parts, I think because of the teeth, they didn't want it to be hard plastic. So both parts of the dragon head, the lower jaw and the top, are that softer plastic. And then they're kind of painted this like fiery orange color, which looks pretty neat. So I mean, there's a nice amount of articulation in these dragon heads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points per head, which is pretty good. I can't really complain. Same on this side, swivel here, up joint, down joint, and then this as well as right at the base, because this is going to be a shoulder joint for one of the robots. The middle one has kind of the same deal, movement there, swivel, up joint, down joint, although that's kicking out his fist. So yeah, 5 points of articulation per dragon, and I'll see if I can get in close so you can see. There's really nice molded in detail to the dragon heads. They didn't paint the eyes or anything. I think it would have been cool if they could have just painted the eyes red, but not a big deal. Overall, I think they look pretty cool. All the teeth and everything molded in look really neat. And I think it's funny they all have forearms in their necks, or hands, I should say. These are forearms. The necks are forearms, and they all have hands hidden inside. So that's kind of funny. Otherwise, for articulation, you have a ball joint in the little arms in the front. Then you have a more than, because this is part of the transformation, not quite like 180 degrees, but there's a nice rotation there in the elbow. And then you have a movement here in the hand. In the back here, this is going to be a hip joint, so you have a pretty tight ratchet in and out, and then front to back. In this mode, you really only have then the kind of ball joint in the ankle. And then the tail doesn't really do anything. I mean, I guess technically this part can move, but I don't think it's supposed to. Again, it's just so you can fold it into the leg in the transformation. But overall, I like the dragon mode. I think they actually did a pretty good job. The detailing is really nice. I mean, there's tons of molded in detailing, especially in the wings in the back here. The paint on the dragon heads looks pretty cool. I'm hoping that it won't kind of flake off over time because of the soft plastic, but should be alright. I mean, even all this detailing, you'll see more as we get into robot modes. Pretty cool. I think they did a nice job. There's a decent amount of articulation in this mode. It's just a problem that he's so top heavy. And I wish these arms were just a smidge longer, because then I feel like you really could get him into a cool pose. Or maybe like another joint here in the back legs or something. I mean, I guess if you just stuck these like straight out just to get the highest possible amount of lift, it looks ridiculous, but I don't know. I mean, and I'll show you what I mean real quick. The back of the box shows this really cool pose where the legs are like all the way down here, and I just don't know how to replicate that. It's kind of like they put his front like way down, and then I don't know, let's just give it a shot. Maybe I'm overthinking this. And then they just kind of put this down, and then I think they just brought the heads up. Something like that, maybe? Yeah, I guess that's not bad. You can bring the wings up a little bit too. Yeah, actually, I guess that works. You just have to really bring up the dragon heads to compensate for the fact that he's pitched kind of forward. But yeah, it's definitely a cool dragon mode. I think it looks good. My biggest complaint is I just wish these front arms were a little bit longer so you could kind of elevate him a little bit to about there. That would be perfect. Then I'd love it. So it's not bad, but we'll go ahead and we'll get into the transformation here. It's actually not as complicated as you might think. Oh, actually, hold on. Before we do that, I did forget to mention, he has these accessories. He's got these two swords, which I really like the design. They're simple, but they definitely remind me of like knights or like, you know, medieval times swords, like something from Warcraft or something. So I like that a lot. And then he comes with a mace. And there is storage in this mode. There's little peg holes under the wings, so you can peg a sword on each wing. And then there's a hole on the back here. You can go ahead and peg in the mace. So, I mean, it looks a little... like, the swords, I feel like, hide decently well. The mace on the back kind of looks goofy, but at least there is somewhere to store it in the dragon mode. But now we'll go ahead and move into the transformation. Alright, I'm going to do my best to keep this thing in camera the whole time. I guess I should have showed off too. The wings have one hinge here, then a second hinge here, and then a third hinge in about the middle of the wing. So 1, 2, 3. So again, really nice articulation in the wings as well. Coming down here, so the first thing you're going to want to do is kind of split the dragon in half. So you just kind of put these feet up in the air just to get them out of the way. This, you kind of just lift over the lip of the plastic butt piece, just kind of like lift it out like that, again, just to kind of get it out of the way. And then you can see the chest here, and it's not straight down. It's like a line over here and then straight down. So you just split this chest piece apart like that. And then once you do that, this whole middle section can lift out. And we'll put that off to the side for now. We'll stick with this guy. This guy is going to be Dragonicus. So first thing you can do is you can see his head is hiding over here on the side of the chest. You can just go ahead and flip that out. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to swivel the shoulder joint so that this, the dragon head, kind of goes to the outside while this little dragon arm kind of comes in, which is going to fold in on itself and then hide in the chest. So basically, you just kind of bring it down, swivel this around, just kind of move this, because you just have to make sure, this head's a little bit in the way. Bring this down, and then kind of turn it, and then fold this up. And see how it just snaps in so perfectly, like on the side there, and then kind of bring this. You kind of have to like move this so that everything kind of has a little bit of space. So like as you push this a little bit forward, and this can move a little bit, and you kind of move this a little back and forth. You're going to do the same thing over on this side. Kind of rotate this down, move the chest piece around a little bit, and you can just kind of not worry about the feet for right now. But if it helps you to rotate them down so they're a little bit less in the way. And then bring this down, straighten this out, fold this up, turn it to the side. And then kind of bring this around. So as you can see, and I apologize if I'm not close enough, and it's kind of hard to get light in here because this is casting a shadow, but the two hands are folded up on each other and right next to each other. And then you'll bring this back closed. And as you're doing that, and I should point this out, you see there's tabs. So there's a tab right there where my finger is and another tab. And there is a spot on the inside of these body parts to tab it into. It's right here. So, but as you close it, it'll pretty much just line itself up. There's really no way not to. So then you just kind of make sure that it's tabbed in and press it against the body. There you go. So, oh, not closed all the way. There we go. So you have the head, and now these dragon arms are going to be the arms. Because apparently you can't have a dragon figure without the dragon heads being the hands. I shouldn't say the hands, but the arms. Twinferno is kind of the same way. So now you can come down here. You have this crazy hips. Unpeg this. This will just lift back. And you can see there was a big tab. Oops. And I knocked the camera all about. There was a tab right here. And that was going into that tab slot right there. You want to focus for me? No? There we go. So you can see there was a tab spot right there. And then there was a tab right there. So you're untabbing that by pulling it down. And then as you do that, you're going to straighten out the legs. Like that. And this is actually, this piece is going to become the new kind of kneecap. Then you can fold out the heel down here. Like that. Sorry, my camera's being weird now. So you do the same with the other one. Bring the leg down. Pop out the heel. Then you're going to spin them at the thigh, 180 degrees. And then you can actually, because you can see there's a hinge here and a hinge here, you're going to tuck that up underneath. And then peg the two crotch pieces together. And there you go. You have Dragonicus's crotch / legs. Do I have the... Yeah, that's right. Hold on, do I have that right? Yes, I do. So actually, these are not heels. These are the front of his feet. The big dragon feet are his heels. So he's got nice big heels. Now at this point, you're pretty much done. You're just going to lift up this forearm cover. And you can see the hand is right in there. And then you just kind of swivel this around. You're going to collapse the dragon head as close against the forearm as you can. And then just kind of rotate everything around so that the hand is... And it's kind of nice because, yes, the dragon hand is hanging off there, but it's on the back, and you actually don't even see it that much. It's kind of cool. I don't really know why that is. Like, you would think because it's so big that you would see it, but it just kind of blends in perfectly. So bring this down. Make sure this is pegged in, which for some reason this came unpegged. There we go. Crazy shoulder joint. And that's what I was saying. Some of the joints are a little tight and they cause things to unpeg, but you can easily fix it. Why is this giving me so much trouble today? I think it's because these dragon hands. Stupid dragon hands. Alright, I'm going to unpeg this real quick. If I can get this open. The real question is, can I leave this, can I open this with the crotch still being pegged together? I think you can. Maybe you can't. It's easier to get back in here if you don't. There we go. Yeah, these dragon hands are not in here as well as they should be. And that is what's giving me the problem. There we go. Now we can peg this stuff in. It should stay pegged. Okay. So, at this point, the wings, it's up to you. If you want to leave the wings all the way out in full dragon splendor, you can. What I kind of like to do is just fold it in on these two joints here, just so that it brings it in a little bit. And I think it kind of makes the wings look a little bit sharper. Plus, it gives you some space for arm articulation. Because if you had the wings all the way out, they would kind of hit into the, the forearms would hit. So I kind of like to bring them back a little bit. The directions actually have you even fold them again, just so that they're like as far back and folded in as they can go. So this is how the directions have it. And again, it's completely up to your preference. If you want to have him, store him like this, and then all of a sudden he, needs to fly somewhere, so he pops him out, certainly an option. But this is the robot mode that you're left with. And it's actually not bad. I actually like it a lot more than I thought I was going to. They give the two swords to Dragonicus. So pop these in. And he looks pretty cool. I like it a lot. Yes, he has a lot of backpack in the way of the wings, but again, it's really up to you if you like to display them out. It just makes them a little back heavy, so just be aware of that. But the head can swivel. I think it's just a swivel, it looks like, not a full ball joint. It's kind of a shame because these, you can see the dragon hands in the back here. They never fully get 100% out of the way. It's kind of funny. They're not long enough for dragon mode. They're too long for this robot mode. And I don't know what I'm doing with this. But yeah, so it's not perfect. But anyway, you have the head on a side to side, ball joint in the shoulder here. Then you have, of course, the bicep swivel. You have 90 degrees in the elbow. Hand doesn't really have any articulation because of how it transforms. Then you have that ratchet in the hips, and then front to back, thigh swivel, 90 degrees in the knee. And then you have a little bit of ankle play, mostly front to back. I don't think, can you turn it? No, so it's just front to back. Oops, and now I just pulled his crotch apart. But yeah, he's got real nice big heels, which I think they did because of all the backpack, how back heavy he is. So I appreciate that. But yeah, overall, I like this robot mode a lot more than I expected to. The head sculpt's really cool. I'll get in a little bit closer so you can see that. And I apologize because my freaking camera's going to freak out. I think it's painted red in there. It's very hard to see. But either way, it definitely looks like a knight's helmet, and I love that. I think it's a really cool head sculpt. So overall, I like this guy a lot. Let's get on to the other guy. So moving on to Storm Rain, I think it's kind of funny that his section just kind of looks like a snake. He's very thin. This guy's really easy to transform. Basically, you're just going to kind of swing this section around, and then you can see this is going to be an arm. Now you can see there's kind of a double joint here. So what you're going to do is bend the joint down while at the same time bending it here. Oops, come on, there you go. Mine's really tight, but I guess that's good. So you can see what you're left with when you're done. there was a bend here and a bend here. So it was up like an L, and then you just bring the whole L down like this and then put this up. Now once you can do that, you can spin the head around. You can see that there's clearance to do so. You can kind of just, oops, let me zoom back out here. Bring the arm down, just kind of get this ready for later. You'll deal with the arms again in a little bit. Now, how this works is there's a tiny little clip right here, and then this whole butt flap, first of all, it unpegs from the, this big tab hole was tabbed onto this slot here, so, but you're going to flip the butt flap up, and then that little catch is going to peg into right here. And it doesn't like snap like a really big snap, but it kind of holds. I mean, you can easily move it. It doesn't really like hard peg in or anything like that. But that's going to be his little backpack. At this point, you can turn this around, separate the legs, fold in the tail, which just folds into the back, and then straighten out the legs. Turn these around at the thigh to give him his feet and legs. For this side, you just fold the hand out. It's just in the forearm. Why isn't it doing it? It's in there. There we go. So there's your one hand and arm. This one, you're going to do pretty much the same thing you did with Dragonicus, where you open up the flap. This way, you go this way. Bring this around. Bring the hand out. Just put that dragon head as close to the forearm as you can, and then slide it around so that it's on the back. And then you can position these little shoulder armors. And there you go. That's his robot mode. He has like no heels to speak of, which is kind of a bummer. Now, he doesn't have nearly as much back heaviness as Dragonicus does, so he doesn't need big heels. But I wish he had a little bit more heels. But overall, I like the look of him. I love that head sculpt. Very cool knight helmet going on there. The detail and kind of the wash in the chest. Like, the wash that they were trying to do with Steel Knight, I think they actually succeeded here. I think it looks a lot better. They're going for like a tarnished look. It actually got kind of pulled off here. We have that nice green underneath. It doesn't just look like someone, you know, got smudge or dirt all over the toy. It actually looks weathered. So I think they did a much better job with the paint job on this toy than they did with Steelbane. And then he comes with a big mace. So the cool thing that I like is obviously he can hold it in his hand, which is no problem. But you can also come around to the back and you can see this big peg hole right here. You can either put it on like this if you like, or if you like the you know, hilt towards the top, you can plug it in like that. So you can have weapon storage on the back. I think that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. I'm going to put it back in his hand for now. But yeah, articulation-wise, head can move. This one's on a ball joint. A little limited up and down, but certainly from side to side. Again, you have a ball joint in the shoulder. Now, unfortunately, because it's kind of tight, this moves around a little bit. And this is supposed to keep it in place. So if you hold it, it absolutely will. But like I said, it loosely pegs in there. So, you know, don't count on it too much. But if you hold it from the back, you know, then you got no problem whatsoever. So it's just kind of a real tight ball joint. I think over time it'll loosen up. But you got a ball joint there in the shoulder. You got a bicep swivel. You got 90 degrees in the elbow. Again, nothing for the hands. Front and back. Ratchet out to the side for the hips. Thigh swivel. Way over 90 degrees for the knee. A little bit of ankle movement, but I don't know why you'd want it really. So yeah, I think he's pretty cool. This one's definitely more the basic of the two. You know, the transformation's not as involved, and his robot mode's a little bit more basic, but I still like him a lot. You just kind of have to make sure you get him in a pose so you weight distribute him, because like I said, he really has no heels. But the mace does help with that as well, so. But yeah, backpack I really don't think is that big a deal. It doesn't really hinder his articulation at all, so it doesn't bother me. But yeah, overall pretty cool. So I actually like Dragonstorm a heck of a lot more than I thought I was going to. Not that I ever thought I was going to hate him, but I thought the transformation would be kind of overly convoluted and difficult, and You know, just like things weren't going to line up. I was kind of just expecting Steelbane slash Skeletron again, and I definitely think this is an improvement over that mold. The paint job already, I think, is a better job. They did vastly better job with making it look weathered, but not just having it look like someone smeared paint all over it. I still think that Poor Little Squeaks is the worst example of that, where it just looks like someone smeared brown paint on a toy and didn't really get the weathering effect down. I think they definitely did a much better job with the paint job on this, making it look weathered instead of just smeared, which is great. I like that a lot. Both robot modes have a decent amount of articulation. They both look pretty good. I like the accessories that he comes with. The combined dragon mode, I think, looks good. And like I said, I think the transformation is actually pretty fun, and it's not super convoluted or anything like that. And they actually snap together and hold pretty well when they're together, which I appreciate. The only thing that I can really nitpick, like I said, those front legs are a little bit too low in dragon mode, so he kind of has to fall forward. But you can kind of angle things around and move the heads up and get it to look so it's really not that big a deal. And I did figure out what I was doing wrong with this guy. If I go ahead and pop him open again, actually what I'll do is I'll open up the legs, because that's a key component to show you about what I was doing wrong. And some of you probably already know. You're probably watching this video going, buddy, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. And now I can't get it open. This guy just wants to make me look dumb on camera all the time. So when you get the legs, you can kind of, you know, fold the legs in like that. And then when you push it together and you peg it into the shoulders and then you come under here, you can see that these are meant to kind of push up and fit in this groove. You can see how there's a little groove on the end for the kind of little part that sticks up off the elbow. So once you push them in like that, it really puts them in the right position. And then you can close up the hip joint and everything will be where it is. Because I was kind of putting the two arms together, but then when I was closing the hip joints, because I didn't have those arms in the right position, when the hip joints were going up, they were knocking that arm inside up, which was hitting the head, and then everything wasn't lining up. So now you can see, because of the positioning, those arms are now behind the head perfectly, and then this all pegs together nice and stays together, and it stays closed. So that's really a big deal. Well, obviously I don't pull the hips apart. And these hip joints, ratchets, are very tight, which is good. So yeah, obviously when you have it transformed correctly, it makes a big deal. So I don't think I need to tell you guys that. But I wanted to show you off what I was doing, because I realized when I was fiddling with it after I filmed that, oh wait, I missed this step, and that really seems to make a big deal. The directions don't clearly illustrate that. I mean, the directions for Hasbro are always kind of so-so. But I wanted to show that off, because once you have that, he stays together much better, looks great. And I like those wings on his back. I like how you can put him in a bunch of different poses. I really do like how if you want the option of giving him full-on dragon wings like he's ready to throw down, you can certainly do that. And it looks pretty cool. I think that's pretty neat. So yeah, I think this is a fun set. Obviously, you get pretty much 2 Voyagers in one leader class, which, you know, price-wise, that makes about sense. So I think it's pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd like to hear your opinions. Let me know what you think, but I recommend it. If you can find this guy, which I've actually been finding him around a lot. I feel like now that the Wave 3, or I guess is he technically Wave 2? I was never sure about that. This wave of leader class are out there now, so you shouldn't have a problem finding him if you're looking for him. So pick him up, especially if you can find him on a sale or something. I have a feeling that last night's stuff is going to be on its way out soon, so people might be clearancing stuff to make room for new toys. And if that's the case, I definitely say find him on a sale, pick him up. He's a lot of fun. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like and share the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you guys have enjoyed this look at Leader Class Dragonstorm from Transformers The Last Knight. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.